March 10th, 1980. Purchase, New York. The sprawling estate of one of America's most famous doctors sits quietly in the darkness. Inside, 69-year-old Dr. Herman Tarnower is asleep. He is wealthy, powerful, famous, the creator of one of the most successful diet books in history. To millions of Americans, he is the face of the Scarsdale Diet. But before the sun rises, Herman Tarnower will be dead. Shot 4 times inside his own home. And standing in the center of the investigation is not a stranger, not a burglar, not an enemy, but a woman who had loved him for 14 years. A respected headmistress, an educator, a grandmother, a woman who insists she never meant to kill him. The public would become divided. Was this cold-blooded murder? Or the tragic collapse of a woman pushed beyond her emotional limits? This is the story of Jean Harris and the Scarsdale Diet Doctor.
Oh. What's up, guys? Welcome to Crime Snob Podcast, where every Monday we dive into some of the most twisted local true crime stories. My name is Sandra Goriello.
And I'm Alice Grelly, and today I have a story to share with you. Long before his murder made headlines, Herman Tarnower was already famous. Born in Brooklyn in 1910, Tarnower built a successful cardiology practice in Westchester County. Patients adored him. Colleagues respected him. And by the 1970s, he had become something else entirely. A celebrity.
Oh.
America was obsessed with dieting. And Tarnower's book, The Complete Scarsdale Meidcal Diet, became a phenomenon. The book outlined a strict 14-day weight loss plan, emphasizing lean proteins, vegetables, and strict portion controls. Very similar to Atkins, South Beach Diet, all that jazz.
Gotcha.
Which, have you heard of the Scarsdale Diet? I have not.
No, that's when you said that, I was so surprised. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So the Scarsdale Diet is low calorie, restricted to 1,000 calories a day.
Okay.
And this should be followed for 7 to 14 days. Medical experts have listed the Scarsdale Diet as an example of a fad diet.
Yeah.
As it may carry potential health risks and might not instill the kind of healthy eating habits required for sustainable weight loss.
Gotcha. So long term, it's not the best diet.
No. However, at the time, they didn't know or care about that. Millions of copies of this book sold. Television appearances followed, money poured in. The doctor who once saw patients in Westchester had become a national figure. But friends would later describe another side of Herman Tarnower. Brilliant, charming, confident, and deeply complicated. Particularly when it came to women.
A little bit of a womanizer?
Little womanizer on her hands here.
Okay.
Now enter Jean Harris, who on paper appeared to be the perfect match. Educated, sophisticated, accomplished. She served as headmistress of the Madeira School, an elite girls' boarding school in Virginia. Friends and peers described her as intelligent and disciplined. She went to Laurel School in Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is like a fancy boarding school for girls, similar to the one that she was headmistress at.
Okay.
Before attending Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. And in 1945, she graduated magna cum laude from Smith with a degree in economics. So
okay. Very educated.
She's a smarty. After college, she married Jim Harris, and they had 2 sons by 1952. Which, side note, I do want to say that it is very impressive that she was that educated at that time, because that wasn't that common.
Right.
And she did raise 2
boys.
children, built a successful career in addition to being a mother. And she carried herself with confidence, as sounds like she should at the time. In 1965, Harris divorced her husband, who eventually died in 1977, so after all this happened. She met Herman Tarnower in 1966. What followed would become a 14-year relationship, which never resulted in marriage, but a relationship that would define the rest of both of their lives. At first, it seemed like a love story, two accomplished adults finding companionship later in life, but beneath the surface, the relationship was becoming increasingly complicated. Because while Jean viewed Herman as the love of her life, many people believed Herman viewed the relationship very differently. Which I don't even think it's that weird that they weren't married, because I feel like that's not that weird for a second later in life relationship to not, like, I already did that and my kids are grown. She was a grandmother at this point. Like,
I wonder how common it was back in the 70s, though.
it was the 70s that this happened.
Yeah, so I'm curious if maybe that just wasn't, it was maybe a little taboo, or like wasn't the norm back then.
Yeah. Plus, like, I think even the fact that she was a working mom was probably taboo in and of itself. I don't know what her husband previously did for work, though, so maybe she
needed to.
Maybe she was the breadwinner, too.
Yeah, maybe she needed to work to make ends meet, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Friends and family would later describe a painful imbalance in their relationship. Jean Harris was deeply devoted to Herman Tarnower, but Herman remained committed to one thing above all else: himself.
Shitty.
Yeah. But also, I can totally see it. I mean, just the fame.
I was going to say, the fame, the money.
Yeah, and, like, you know, even before that, he was a cardiologist, which, you know, those are all bragworthy things.
He was feeling himself a little bit.
As he should. Both of them, you know. Though Tarnower showered Harris with gifts and exotic vacations, he had relationships with multiple other women throughout the years. Witnesses would later testify that he openly dated women throughout their relationship. Sometimes younger women. Sometimes more than one at once.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And according to many accounts, he made little effort to hide it. Remember, he was living in Purchase in Westchester, and she was headmistress of a boarding school in Virginia. So they were in a long-distance relationship, and she seemed to be cool with it.
Okay.
Or at the very least, Jean tolerated behavior that many people would have probably considered very humiliating, especially at the time. Again, and again, and again. Yet she stayed. Perhaps because she believed he would eventually marry her, perhaps because she loved him, or perhaps because after 14 years, walking away felt impossible. Side note, he was prescribing her multiple medications over the course of several years. I don't know the full
extent
rundown of the medications, but there are notes that, or there are reportings of one of them being methamphetamine that she ended up becoming addicted to, so I'm sure it probably also wasn't that enticing to leave him when he was her
supplying her
plug. Yes, and I don't know how accessible mental health services and prescriptions for those types of medications were at that time, especially for women. So yeah.
Okay.
But then in the 1970s, another woman entered the picture.
No.
Tarnower hired Lynn Triforos, a divorcee more than 30 years his junior.
Wow.
Yep. To work as a secretary receptionist at the Scarsdale Medical Center. Tarnower then began having an affair with said receptionist.
It's never a good idea.
No.
You work with her.
But then everything began to unravel. So by early 1980, Jean Harris was emotionally devastated. Friends, colleagues, students all noticed changes. She appeared depressed, exhausted, heartbroken. On the evening of March 9th, Madeira faculty members noted she seemed despondent and distant. It was later learned that she was addicted to one of her prescription medications. And then came the letter. Hours before the shooting, Jean mailed Herman a lengthy emotional letter. Page after page, expressing anger, pain, humiliation, and despair.
Just pouring her heart out.
I'm curious how many pages the letter was, because I did not read it. I'm curious if we would be able to find it if we dug hard enough, but I was not able to come across it, how many pages this letter was. The prosecution would later portray the letter as evidence of jealousy and rage The defense would argue it reflected profound emotional collapse. Either way, it offered a window into Jean's state of mind. A woman who felt discarded, replaced, forgotten after 14 years. The relationship she had built her life around was ending, and she was struggling to imagine a future without it.
So sad.
On March 10th, 1980, Jean Harris got into her car. She began a 5-hour, 264-mile drive from Virginia to Purchase, New York. She carried a .32 caliber revolver.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it was her gun or know what a headmistress in the 80s has to do with a lethal weapon, but as well as ammunition.
Okay.
That was in the gun and extras ammunition, yes. That fact would become one of the most important details in the entire case, because prosecutors would later ask a simple question. Why bring a loaded gun?
Right.
Jean would provide an answer, one that would become central to her defense.
I'm afraid to hear it.
She claimed that the gun was for herself, not for Herman. She intended to take her own life, not his.
Oh, no.
But before the night was over, Herman Tarnower would be dead, and a jury would eventually decide whether that explanation made sense.
Right.
When Jean arrived at Tarnower's estate, she entered the home. According to later testimony, when she arrived at the house, she noticed the secretary's lingerie
Oh, no.
in the bedroom.
I was just about to say, you would think a 5-hour drive would either kind of cool you down by the time you get there.
Yeah.
Or escalate things, because now you're just festering with your own thoughts. But even if the drive did cool her down, seeing that probably reignited every emotion she just felt.
100%. And who knows if whatever, she planned to say when she got there went right out the window.
Out the window.
Once she saw that lingerie, and it just triggered her, which, I could understand.
Also, side note, she said it was for herself.
Yes.
Did she want to make, a whole theatrical...
Yes, that's what I think.
...scene in front of him? Because if she really wanted to take her own life,
then
why not
do that,
just...
in front of him? I mean,
why
she
not
had
just
said...
do it in Virginia? I'm not saying that she should do it. I'm just saying, what was the thought process? Did she want to confront him and then kind of, this is what you made me do type of thing,
Especially since she already wrote a lengthy letter that she had mailed. So she already kind of got to say her last...
everything that she ever wanted to, unless something else came to mind. But
yeah, but I from my understanding, I believe she mailed the letter and then went on the drive. So, it's technically March 10th because it was after midnight, but, it was the evening of March 9th. So, the realization of the lingerie being the secretary's intensified an already emotional situation. Because, again, we don't know if she was, what state of mind she was in before she even got there.
Right.
And an argument followed. Tarnower allegedly said to her, "Jesus, Jean, you're crazy. Get out of here."
That's never a good idea to say to an angry woman.
Right? It's like saying, calm down when someone's freaking out.
Yeah,
it's
you don't do that.
No. And then came gunfire. 4 shots. 4 separate trigger pulls. According to Harris, a struggle over the gun ensued when Harris told Tarnower that she was going to kill herself. Prosecutors disputed her claim, noting that she had placed extra ammunition in her pocket before confronting Tarnower.
That's right. So if she was going to try to commit suicide, what did she need extra bullets for?
In your pocket? What were you going to do with those extra bullets in your pocket for? Unless she was intending the murder-suicide. When police arrived, Herman Tarnower was dead. Jean later reported that she tried phoning for help from the upstairs bedroom, but that phone was not working.
How convenient.
She left in the car to get help, not knowing Tarnower's housekeeper had already phoned the police after hearing the gunshots.
So there was someone in the house when this happened?
He was, wealthy. I haven't seen the home in Purchase, but he had, full-time staff. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did she see anything, or she just wasn't in the room when that happened? No.
No, it was like an estate from what I read.
Oh,
So
I
I think
see.
it was, I'm sure they had like a separate wing, but I mean, obviously gunshots are,
Very distinguished, like, yeah.
yeah. She left in her car to get help, not knowing Tarnower's housekeeper had already phoned the police after hearing the gunshots. Harris saw police cars driving past her, headed in the direction of Tarnower's home. She turned her car around and followed the police cars back to his home. Jean Harris admitted that she fired the weapon. The question was never who shot Herman. The question was why. Jean was ultimately arrested and booked for second-degree murder. She claimed she intended suicide. She said Herman tried to stop her. A struggle occurred. The gun discharged accidentally, then discharged again and again and again. But prosecutors saw it differently. They argued that she was furious, humiliated, consumed by jealousy, and that she intentionally killed the man that rejected her. The trial became a national sensation, as you could imagine. Every detail fascinated the public. The famous doctor, the respected educator, the younger woman. She's the secretary.
Very scandalous.
The love letters, the betrayal, the wealth of privilege. It was everything America couldn't stop watching. The courtroom became a battleground between two competing narratives. The prosecution's story was simple. The defense's story was far more complicated. A psychologically shattered woman experienced a tragic accident during a suicidal crisis. The jury listened for months. And then they faced a difficult question. Could 4 gunshots really be accidental? That question would define the case. In February 1981, the jury delivered its answer: guilty. Jean Harris was convicted of second-degree murder.
Oh, wow.
She received a sentence of 15 years to life. And I don't know what 15 years to life, like, what is the to life? Like,
I think I think it means that you can be
Like if
eligible,
you're eligible
for
for-
parole, but it's not guaranteed.
Got it. So, for some observers, justice had been served, and they were happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
For others, the verdict felt deeply unsatisfying, which I could understand. Not because they believed she was innocent, but because they believed the truth was far more complicated than just simple second-degree murder. The debate continued long after the trial ended, and in many ways, it still continues today. I mean, we're here talking about it now. Prison transformed Jean Harris's life. She became a model inmate.
Oh.
She taught, mentored others, helped develop educational programs, worked to improve opportunities for incarcerated women. And over time, even some critics acknowledged her contributions. The woman who entered prison as one of America's most notorious murderers slowly became something else: an advocate, a mentor, a symbol of rehabilitation. After serving approximately 12 years, Jean Harris was granted clemency by New York Governor Mario Cuomo.
Really?
Yep, and she walked free in 1993. But one thing never changed. She continued to insist that she never intended to kill Herman Tarnower. Until the day she died in 2012, Jean maintained that the shooting was accidental. And because only 2 people truly knew what happened in that bedroom, the debate never ended. And one of them was dead. The other never changed her story. The Scarsdale Diet Doctor case remains fascinating because it really isn't a mystery. We know who fired the gun. We know who died. What remains uncertain is the motive. Was Jean Harris a woman driven to murder by jealousy and rejection? Or was she a broken-hearted woman experiencing a suicidal crisis that spiraled into tragedy? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. What makes the story unsure isn't the crime itself. It's the humanity behind it. The love, obsession, humiliation, aging, loneliness, and the devastating consequences that can follow when one person becomes the center of another person's world. Because in the end, the greatest mystery isn't who killed Herman Tarnower. It's whether anyone, including the jury, ever fully understood why.